On Fridays, he comes in when it comes to music, movies, television, streaming. He is, without peer. As the culture blaster, he comes and goes on a rainbow. How about it for the great Michael Snyder, everyone?
Hey, happy Friday to you, Mark, to Kim, to Tony, to Albert in absentia.
Sure,
Albert, thank you.
And, of course, to everyone out there in the viewer and listener world. We love having you on board.
You've covered everybody. I'm very impressed by that.
I hope everyone had a nice Labor Day weekend. For the record, I am a traditionalist, and I won't be wearing white after Labor Day.
I see.
But I will definitely continue to be white, since, as usual, I avoided the sun all summer long.
Yes, we're both kind of pasty in our pallor. Right.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
And also, I had the good sense to not attend Burning Man. After the burners left the easy access of San Francisco's Baker Beach and went for the stark wilds of so-called Black Rock City in the Nevada desert, I stopped attending. Honestly, I preferred sleeping in my own bed after undulating around a nice conflagration in the sand.
Oh, man.
Anyway, this year at Black Rock City, it wasn't so much burning love as it was wade in the water. They felt the burn, and it was wet, Mark.
It was wet. It was kind of conflagration today.
I'm glad I wasn't a part of it, to be straight up with you.
Well, you're also someone of, it's a little too elaborate a scene for you, I think. You like something like...
I come from regular stock.
Yeah, exactly. You come from regular stock.
I'm an urban guy, Mark, is all I can say. Yeah. And with that in mind, shall we go to the movies?
Let's do it. Now.
We'll do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Let's do it live.
I had a serious decision to make this week. Due to a screening conflict, I had to decide whether to review My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3 or The Nun.
This is why I would never be a movie critic.
Or The Nun 2. So some might liken this to choosing between a headache and an upset stomach.
Yeah, which one don't I want to review more?
Yeah, I'm not sure which movie is which in that correlation. But in the end, I went for the horror movie, Mark, My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3. No, just kidding. Just kidding. I've spent enough time with Nia Vardalos and her lovably wacky, flagrantly ethnic family that I had no need to spend any more time with her.
Oh, I see. You waved it off. You went for The Nun.
Yeah, I chose to put in 90 minutes with an evil death-dealing demon in the form of a nun with kind of glowy eyes, a hook nose, and pointy teeth like a shark.
Wow.
Oh, it's spoiler alert. Yeah, that's what the nun is. That's the primary villain creature in The Nun,
Oh,
too.
so that's not the nun. That's the villain.
Well, that is the nun.
Oh, the nun is... The nun looks like that?
There are good nuns and bad nuns in the Nun movies. So 2018's The Nun.
Tell me about The Nun 1.
Well, you got to have context.
Exactly.
It was set during the mid-1950s in a Romanian abbey that's assailed by the aforementioned demonic nun thing.
Could there be anything more bleak than a 1950s Romanian and aforementioned dingword?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Anyway, it was a spin-off and a prequel, by the way, presuming to tell the origins of a cursed painting of a very creepy-looking nun that was in one of the considerably better Conjuring pictures with Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga as a married couple of spiritualist paranormal investigators. No. And actually, if you haven't already seen The Nun, there's little or no reason to see The Nun 2. In fact, unless you're a Conjuring film series completist, and that means also seeing all the Annabelle movies about a possessed antique doll and all the Conjuring anyway, there's really no reason to see The Nun 2.
Okay. Conjuring and completists, I'll ring both of them.
As you might presume, having sat through it, I am duty-bound to discuss the pros and cons of The Nun 2. All right. It has some jump scares, and Thaisa Farmiga, coincidentally the younger sister of The Conjuring's Vera Farmiga, and Thaisa is committed to the role of Sister Irene, who first encounters the habit-wearing demon Valak in The Nun 1. And if I remember correctly, she sends the creature back to hell, although not for long, and apparently not in a handbasket.
He's out on parole or something. How did he get back?
I don't know. Is he a he or a she?
It could be just a she, of course. It's a nun. Yeah, good point.
It doesn't take the form of a priest. Busy killing priests, as a matter of fact.
Sorry, okay.
Anyway, so Valak is back in The Nun too, and the church tasks the savvy Sister Irene to drive out the evil spirit when it starts traveling through Europe, killing priests, infecting innocents, and making them do bad things. So Sister Irene is kind of like the nuncercist. Most of the horrific doings go down at the devilish nun's latest stop on her 1956 European possession tour, and that would be a convent school endangering the mostly prepubescent female students.
Why is she the one who is? She's like Liam Neeson in Taken.
Sister Irene is kind of like
I have a special set of nun skills.
Which sounds a little like numbskulls, which you have to be to kind of like these movies. Wow. Anyway, so there is a convent school, and there are mostly prepubescent female students, and the nun, Demon, singles out the vulnerable pigtailed daughter of a teacher at the school for, I don't know, reasons. And so after a while, this whole thing, young girls in a convent school being chased and tormented, feels like the most hellish installment of the Madeline book series ever. I think Madeline might have been amongst these poor girls.
That's very funny.
When Valak seeps into the soul of the school's handsome janitor, you can surmise the rest of this nonsense.
Surmise is a dingler.
And nonsense is an embarrassment as a joke, but I said it anyway. There are virtues. No, I'd say none. Anyway.
Very good. I get it. None.
I have to
Don't
say,
encourage him. No, do not ding that. No.
Thaisa Farmiga and the other actors do a good job of screaming, running, and serving as nun bait. And to its credit, the first Nun movie was pretty atmospheric and also had Damien Bashir as a hard-hitting, battling priest. By comparison, this one, directed admittedly with a sense of gothic place and visual flair by Michael Chavez, feels more thrown together. There is an unexplained or barely explained MacGuffin that the nun demon wants for, I don't know, ultimate power? And would that power be the ability to slap one bulky student across the knuckles with a ruler and simultaneously hurt a multitude of nasty boys?
That's actually a good point. Nuns were already maybe Satan-possessed for a while. Some of them, and a handful of kind of abusive,
I have ruler across the knuckles. That's scarier than this demon, frankly.
Yeah,
anyway, I don't know why the nun does this, and I don't really care. It's in theaters. Caveat emptor, as the people say.
Yeah, Tom says prepubescent. I missed it, I guess. That's a ding word. Okay, go ahead,
Okay,
Michael.
with a charming yet street-smart view of its main character that brings to mind aspects of Francois Truffaut's The 400 Blows and Vittorio De Sica's The Bicycle Thief.
Oh, my God. This is a sophisticated
This is a lovely, down-to-earth film.
Okay.
Scrapper. Concerns Georgie, a clever, stubborn 12-year-old girl living on her own in a working-class London neighborhood after her mother dies. Although she clearly misses her mom terribly, Georgie, who is played by the precocious Lola Campbell, has figured out a way to make social services think that her uncle, by the name of Winston Churchill, is taking care of her. It's all a sham, but she's managed to convince social services, who are clearly idiots, by the way. Meanwhile, this admittedly resourceful kid thinks she can continue paying rent on her mom's flat by selling stolen bicycles to a fence. That's right. Georgie and her best friend, Ollie, actually are bicycle thieves. Yo, Vittorio De Sica, check this out.
Oh, there it is.
Anyway, Georgie's questionable plans for survival are upended when her father, Jason, played by Harris Dickinson, shows up after being away since back when she was born. Needless to say, Georgie has her suspicions about her absentee father, his disappearance from her mother's life, and his seeming disinterest in his daughter for a dozen years, like the entirety of her life. Anyway, the gradual process of the recalcitrant Georgie accepting Jason's haphazard attempts at taking on parental responsibility are sweet and emotionally resonant. Campbell is terrific, as is Dickinson, who was actually pretty darn good in last year's dark comic treat, Triangle of Sadness. It is easy to understand how Scrapper won the Grand Jury Prize at the Sundance Film Festival.
So you really like this.
With those performances and that of Aline Uzun as Ollie, as well as screenwriter-director Charlotte Regan's canny script and her inspired use of kind of an artful Greek chorus-style commentary about Georgie from the people in Georgie's neighborhood who have less than kind opinions about her. So Regan even mixes in a bit of magical realism now and again. Scrapper is one of those down-to-earth dramedies that UK filmmakers do so well. It's a little gem. It's in theaters now, and it will be available for streaming on October 10th.
That is very great that you liked it so much. Mackay says precocious. I guess you used that.
I'm sure recalcitrant is a ding word, which you didn't respond to.
Oh, thank you. Michael with the self-ding. I love it. Very
it's
impressive.
another Michael Snyder time waster.
Yeah, that's right. Michael Snyder with the new drop. For those who might have missed it earlier in the show, this was from when he was doing the Liam Neeson
This is a classic Mark Thompson time waster.
Yeah, that was the...
My terrible impression of Liam Neeson.
This is a classic Mark Thompson time
But
waster.
again, I like that you took the initiative. Go ahead. What's
Anyway,
next?
sensual, wacky, and original, Piaf is another movie set and shot in Berlin. One more movie set and shot in Berlin because, we can't escape Europe today. It's light years away from things like Liam Neeson's Retribution, which was also set in Berlin. In Piaf, Eva, a young German woman, is enlisted to do Foley for a commercial touting an American mood stabilizing antidepressant drug when the regular sound effects person, because Foley is when you do sound effects after the fact in film. So the regular sound effects person, who I believe is her non-binary sibling, is being treated at a weird sort of sanitarium. Yeah, I said this was wacky. The commercial that she's doing features a cantering, kind of whinnying horse, and as Eva works on evoking these horsey sounds, she finds herself growing a horse's tail and showing signs of, shall we say, unbridled enthusiasm.
Oh, my God. I'll ding evoking, though.
And power in her intimate relationship with a quiet but apparently harness-loving botanist. You might say that Eva is starting to feel her oats. Anyway.
Oh, my.
What?
It's
God.
surreal stuff shot on 35mm film.
Surreal, I'll ding.
Really? Color pops. There's occasional sequences that take place in an underground Berlin nightclub with pulsing industrial dance music, and Eva there galloping around to the beat, confronted with this weirdness. You might say, nay, if you get me. But the more adventurous among us might enjoy saddling up and riding the bizarrely erotic Piaf.
Is this a weird sex movie?
There are some sexual overtones, undertones, and middle tones. Yes.
It turns me off. The whole thing turns me off, Michael.
No, it's funny. It's sort of silly, and there's nothing explicit, really. But there is tail stroking, though, Mark.
The whole thing grosses me out, Michael. Even the poster, I just don't like it.
It's pretty freaky deaky. Directed and co-written by a woman, Anne Oren. This movie brings new meaning to the phrase "joining the horsey set."
Oh my God!
What?
It's in theaters.
This is the new hoax.
It's in theaters. And let's wrap it up quickly here with the final cut.
Go back to the barn, Michael. What do you have for us?
I liked The Artist very much by it's an Oscar-winning movie.
The silent film,
by Michel Hazanavicius. And it's this new movie he did. Final Cut is kind of a mix of horror and comedy. It's a meta inside movie-making trip that's also pretty hilarious. Wow. Essentially, it's about a director played by Romain Duris, who is a terrific French actor, and he's has to make a live, single-take, low-budget zombie movie that's going to be broadcast live. It's sort of a trick in a way. It's a feat that he wants to accomplish, and so he has to have the cast and crew take care of business. And in this movie, within a movie, the cast and crew, one by one, turn into zombies. But it's actually a movie about that happening.
I get it. It's super meta.
It's super meta, and it's really entertaining and crazy. And it's sort of a love letter to kind of seat-of-your-pants movie making. And once you get past some of the craziness of it, it's pretty kind of engaging. And it also features Berenice Bejo, the leading lady from The Artist, and a few other talented European actors. I thought it was really funny, and it's got a lot of phony gore and splatter stuff going on, but it's a movie about a movie being made. You'd have to see it.
But you liked it,
very much. I thought it was really, really clever. It's available for streaming. It was in theaters briefly, but I wanted to kind of catch up to it because it's so unique.
Yeah, I don't know. It's intrigued me.
Final Cut.
Commentator says sometimes the best Snyder is when a movie becomes just an excuse for a pun fest. It is true. Michael likes he will succumb to those
I will
pun offerings. Yeah.
So we do want to talk briefly about some TV programs that I really love before we head out of here.
Okay, but let me just, Tony, have you've told our stations we're going to run a few minutes over?
Thanks, Tony.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
Go ahead, Mike.
so I want to give a big shout out to Archer on FX. It's the 14th and ostensibly final season of the snarky, sometimes laugh out loud funny adult cartoon series about the suave, arrogant, indestructible, and often impossibly efficient in spite of himself super spy with the espionage agency ISIS. H. John Benjamin voices our hero Sterling Archer. Aisha Tyler is his on-again, off-again lover and fellow agent Lana Kane. Judy Greer is the secretary receptionist and kind of lunatic rich girl Cheryl. Chris Parnell from SNL is the wimpy techie, and so on and so on. This show is so funny and sharp, and it's attracted so many talented people who come in as guest actors. For a long time, the late Jessica Walter played the leader of ISIS, who's also Archer's mom. He has so many mother issues.
Yeah, it's very funny.
And you get Christian Slater recurring as a sardonic CIA hothead and Archer nemesis named Slater. He's basically playing himself. Bryan Cranston, J.K. Simmons, John Hamm, Matthew Rhys, Timothy Olyphant, so many. Anthony Bourdain voiced the character on Archer. Burt Reynolds played himself on Archer before he passed away.
No kidding.
Very entertaining. I love Archer. And again, catch the final season. And finally, Star Trek Lower Decks started Series 4, the cheerful canon-referencing Star Trek animated series about the ensigns who are usually assigned to do grunt work and thankless tasks on a starship. Jack Quaid and Tawny Newsome, fresh from doing kind of live-action versions of their characters. Brad Boimler and Beckett Mariner are back as cartoons, and they are in fine form.
So let me just understand that. This is a great premise, if it's what I think it is, which is it's like Below Deck, but it's on a starship.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, my God, that's great. What's it called again?
It's called Star Trek Lower Decks. It's a cartoon, and again, the characters played by Jack Quaid and Tawny Newsome
I love this.
showed up in live-action form on Star Trek Strange New Worlds a few weeks ago, and it's for fans of the entire franchise. It is a love letter. Talk about love letters to Star Trek. Totally
but on Below Deck, the super pretentious, utterly obnoxious rich people are making all these excessive demands on the crew. In Star Trek Lower Decks, are the captain, admiral, other people, are they making these demands on the people in the lower decks or not?
Members of Starfleet are a little more noble than that, but these people are sort of considered, the grunts. They're the ones that have to, in the current episode that I just watched, Boimler, who is, Eager Beaver Ensign, is asked to clean out the holodeck. Unfortunately, it's a mess. Because people can do whatever they damn want in the holodeck.
This.
So it's like the worst duty that I use the word duty advisedly.
I love this. I can't wait to
anyone
watch
could get
it.
on a starship. You had to clean up the holodeck.
Star Trek Lower Decks. Where can I see it?
It's on Paramount Plus, and
right.
it's funny. And again, it's very self-referential.
Been paying for the damn Paramount Plus with nothing to watch. That'll be great. All right, listen quickly. He likes Star Trek Lower Decks. He also liked what was the other thing? Archer, of course, in its final season. Speaking of final, he liked Final Cut, the movie within a movie. Piaf, he also liked.
But
he thought it as a whimsical, weird,
but it's not going to be for everybody.
Foley artist who also works in a club, dancing, grows a tail.
Yeah, Kim, don't watch it, I beg of you.
Yeah. Scrapper, he really liked. It's the British number that has a lot of British charm and a lot of cinematic charm. And The Nun, too. He puts it in the same category as The Nun 1, and that's a missable category. Sad. I like any excuse to go to church, but I guess this is not the church that you'll find me worshiping.
Yeah, props to Thaisa Farmiga to play the heroine and all that. But,
good performances, but maybe, no.
Speaking of good performances, I'm hoping for great performances on Sunday in Pittsburgh by our San Francisco 49ers. Welcome back, Nick Bosa. Let's see if Brock Purdy can continue his amazing run post-surgery. I'm excited because the Giants have been letting me down, baby.
Yeah, well, sadly. I mean, the Niners are loaded with talent, and the Giants are not loaded with talent, so maybe the difference there. But yeah, let's not start this season like last season. Let's win the opener. So, Michael, we'll look for you across social media as the Culture Blaster. And you still do I believe you're going to be doing the Coastal Commuter as a podcast?
We're working on that. And
Okay.
in fact, you can also check me out on Threads and Instagram, Mike the Knife 123.
Mike the Knife 123. That wasn't taken? Mike the Knife 123?
I am Mike the Knife, dude.
Damn straight you are. He comes and goes on a rainbow. Bye, Michael.
Later.
Wow.